What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Thoughts of the Pugilist podcast. I'm your host, Fuad Baiazid, and today's pugilist is the one and only Jessy Thompson. How do you feel, brother?
I'm good. Just chilling here. Welcome to my place.
Yeah, we're in
my
your gym. You finally have your own gym. Well,
yes.
Finally. It's been a while, but you have your own gym. You have your own fighters. You got kids now. Since the last time we met in person.
Time's flying.
How does having kids change you as a coach?
As a coach, yeah, for sure. The time consumption, I don't have as much time. My time is calculated. So when I'm training like it's serious, because if I'm not in the gym, I'm back home with the kids and the wife,
Yeah.
Whereas when I didn't have kids, I could extend my hours at the gym, have more amateur fighters, have more pro fighters. Now it's strictly business, So in that sense, it's just changed me as a coach.
Only professionals?
Only professionals, amateur. I did my time. I started boxing at 6 years old, 31 now. So I've been in the amateur game from 6 to maybe my last few years at Grants, I had stopped the amateurs.
Yeah.
It's just, you learn your trade. You go to competition, brown gloves, silver gloves, golden gloves, nationals, international competitions. You learn your craft as a coach, but the ultimate goal is to be in the pros. And the amateurs, it's fighters come and go. I've trained probably over 100 amateur fighters. And to restart an amateur every time, it's a lot of time, especially the way I teach. I teach fighters how to be very good, how to learn every style, every technique.
I've witnessed it myself.
So it's very time, it takes a lot of time to do that. So I'm done with the amateurs, strictly pros now. I have my 2 pro fighters, Mohammed and Avery. I'll work with other pros, all around the world, whatever it is.
As a cut man?
Cut man, assistant coach, hand wrapper, you name it, Now,
I know you were a fighter, but how do you become a coach? Do you wake up one morning like, I'm going to teach them how to do it?
To be honest, I always felt like I was going to be a coach. And my coach when I was a kid was Russ Amber. And Russ kind of saw it in me, like he saw that I had the eye for it. So whenever he would be coaching, let's say he'd be coaching David Lemieux, I'd just be there sitting and just watching him, learning, seeing, how is he doing? And then he would always challenge me to be like, Jess, what do you see? What's the mistake here? And I'd always be ready to answer. I always had the answer. So Russ kind of started molding me, even when I was still one of his fighters. He's still molding me, Jess, what do you see? He would bring me let's say he'd do broadcasting for a show in Victoriaville or Quebec City or Toronto. Jess, come with me. My parents would let me go with him for 2 days, 3 days. And he'd just question me, ask me questions about boxing, challenge me, explain to me how it works, how the pro game works, how to build a fighter, how to treat a fighter,
How do you build a fighter?
How you build a fighter?
Yeah.
Oh, fudge. We won't have enough time,
Yeah.
But basically what it is you creating a relationship with the fighter, establishing, who you are, who they are, how do you work, what works for them. And that, my philosophy might be different from any other coach, right? This is the way I do it. Get to know the person, then we establish, okay, what's our goal? Where are we fighting? When's the next fight? What are we working on? What's your skills? What's your style? What's your demeanor? What kind of person are you? You understand? There's, the way you build a fighter is so much.
I have to ask you something about that. I've trained with you as an amateur. I think boxing is already a very hard sport.
One of the hardest ones.
Right. I think it's definitely the hardest sport in the world. Do you make it more difficult when you're hard on your fighters?
You see, back then when I used to coach you, I would have a lot of fighters, and I would still train a lot of amateurs, so beginners, people with not much experience under their belt. So obviously, when you start with someone fresh, they're learning the trade, you go hard on them. And the reason why you go hard on them on the beginning, because you want to see who's got it and who doesn't. You want to cut the bullshit, you understand?
Yeah.
You're real or you're not real. So you go hard on them. And you almost want to discourage them to see how bad they want it.
I see.
All right? Because when you step in the ring, maybe not your first 10, 15 amateur fights, but as you get going, and especially in the pro game, this shit's no fucking joke.
No.
It's hard. So you don't want to have someone who they think they want it, but you know deep down as a coach, because you've seen it over and over all these years, that you see like, oh no, that guy's not worth my time. So obviously when I started coaching, I was an asshole. I'd go hard on the fighters, talk shit to them, try to have them quit. Nowadays I don't even get mad. I mean, to my pros or even other pros, I know they're for real. So I know how it is, I try not, when it's time to get the fire up their ass, you get them going. Absolutely. When it's time to calm them down, you calm them down. But I'm much more calm now, when I coach than what I used to. The message gets across a lot better when you're calm, you show control as a coach, you explain it to them, they know. They hear you, they've been hearing you for years, or they understand. Their reaction will be much better if you're calm than instead of yelling.
Look, I appreciate everything you taught me, and I'm not saying this just because we're on camera, because you're actually the first coach that I had that was really, I felt like I was really being molded into something. Mm-hmm. Into something great. How do you know the difference between somebody that just holds pads and somebody who's really a boxing teacher?
That's a good question. That's a serious question. I mean,
there's so many so many on Instagram.
Yeah, especially on this city, but it's a movement, right? I mean, you see it in every field in the world. Everyone's now a professional, right? Because they put it on their social media. I mean, the way I really see a boxing coach, is not through these special combos or special drills they do on video, and you see it's kind of a repeat. I mean, I respect that. Anything that's for boxing, I'm cool with it. But the way I'm gonna judge a coach is the way they take a fighter from point A and they bring it to B, C, D, E. You understand? So I want to see a transformation within the fighter. I want to see a fighter start at one level and then finish at one level. You understand? I also want to see coaches go through what's not easy, right? Go to the bronze gloves, bring up amateurs. They know the amateurs not going anywhere, but they do, Yeah. Like the way I started coaching when I was 15, I went in the gym. I chose the fighter who was the least good. And I put it in my head, I'm going to get this guy better. You understand?
Is that why you got to coaching me?
No, not at all. That's like before you even probably box, like when I was 15, so 15, 16 years ago.
Yeah.
So I would do that. I would challenge myself. How can I make this fighter better? Everyone's saying he's shit in the gym. Let me take him under my wing. So I think that's the difference between a teacher, someone that's able to teach the skills to a fighter, someone who's able to teach techniques, styles, mold them, change them. That'll be a teacher instead of a cheerleader coach who just put your hands up, throw more jabs, get off the ropes, like anybody could do that. You just watch fights and you'll be able to say that. No, teach. Show me someone who teaches. Someone who could, after one round, could change the fight around in that 1 minute in the corner, like, bro, you don't do this, you do that, change your levels or double or triple your attacks, the guy's moving, or start countering, the guy's leaving his hands there.
What do you do when you see somebody that's like miserably losing a fight miserably? What when there's so many things you can say to a fighter, what's the most important?
It depends the guy, it depends the fighter. Is he really is he outmatched because the guy's too good? Well, then you're trying to motivate them. You're trying to remember the game plan. We're doing this. If the game plan's not working, well, plan B or C, If it's a question that the guy's asleep, or it's a question of it's just one thing that he's not seeing, let's say, bro, he's landing on you because you're not bringing back your hands, or he's moving away, you're not landing because you're loading up, So it depends. Your question, it could mean 100 things, it depends what's happening.
As a trainer, you might see the best of a fighter in the gym, and a lot of the times they might not get the right opportunity to show how good they are. Like for example, one of your fighters, Ryan Ford, he's been robbed more times than.
Yeah, I mean, boxing is a business.
Of course, but my question to you is, are you satisfied knowing that your fighter is a very, very good fighter? Or do you need the physical belt or the number on the paper that says he got to that point? And
At the end of the day, it's case by case. My goal is to make the fighter the best he can be. And that might take a few years, it might take a few months, That's my job. As a coach, as a manager, when I manage guys or I work with managers or promoters, that's different. Then there's business. There's the business of boxing gets involved. But when you talk about a coach, what's the coach's job? Protect your fighter, make sure you're squeezing the best out of them, and keeping them safe. Protect them. It's the same thing. But
as a coach, we always say that boxing is the hardest sport in the world, but even harder than boxing is the business side of boxing. How does that affect you as a trainer?
I mean, from a young age, I try to understand the business. I had some sort of experience, with Ricksaw and the Graham brothers, so I started seeing how it works a bit there. I read a lot, I read a lot about how it works, and I talk to a lot of promoters and managers now. That's what I've been doing this last year or so, is, I always see the big picture in boxing, and then I ask questions. I see what's going on. I understand why one guy's fighting one guy and not fighting another guy. So it doesn't really affect me, the business, because I understand it's a business, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't affect me emotionally or anything. I really try to understand it, and to me, I like the business of it.
You like the business of it?
Yeah, boxing, there's goods and there's bads. But once you understand it and you understand why there's certain moves going on.
Like, give us an example.
Well, let's say you're like, why does Crawford not fight Spence? Well, one guy's with one promoter and the other guy's with one promoter. And then you could also say that, like the buildup. It's all about money at the end of the day.
Of course.
If they fight early on in their career, like imagine Tank would fight Ryan Garcia now. Well, why would you do that? Like, yeah, we want to see it. Obviously, we want to see it.
Well, because we're boxing fans.
But you get the build-up. Make sure maybe they fight 1 week after another. Like there's business sides to it, and it's an entertainment business.
Of course.
And the TV controls the money, right? So there's many factors that goes into boxing and the business of it.
What would you say to a young boxer that's turning professional?
It depends. Are you protected? Do you have people investing in you? Do you have a good coach? Is there someone that's going to look after you? I mean, are you doing this for fun, or you want to make a career out of it? Because it's not a game. Especially not, in the amateurs, you can fight 1 week, you fight 3 weeks later, you could work to have a job at the same time. You're talking about pro boxing, like not just one fight. You're talking about trying to make it a career. You need to stop working. You need to be training twice a day. You need to eat healthy. You need to have a coach, strength coach. Some guys, they need moral support. Then you need a promoter, a manager. It's hard, man. It's really like I'm very negative about it. If someone comes up to me and they're like, "Hey, listen, I would like to turn pro." Okay, turn pro. Do one fight and have fun. If it works well and there's a possibility of having another one, go for it. But pro boxing, there's two ways. Either you're like very sellable, so you could sell tickets, or you have a lot of talent.
Okay.
So a promoter will look at you for those two reasons. Not because you work hard, not because you've been boxing your whole life, not because you're this guy's friend or whatever,
Can you make money on the road? Can you make a living on the road?
If you like, let's say we use an example as Ryan Ford.
Right.
So Ryan Ford had a good record. He went to win some fights on the road. Then you start getting phone calls because promoters are going to want to test their fighter.
Right.
So that's one way you can make money. But if you're starting, like you got 2-3 fights, you're not making nothing. You're losing money.
I see.
You're losing money for sure.
So
like even if you make $2,000, okay, $2,000 for a 4-rounder, or $3,000 for a 4-rounder. You've trained 6 weeks, 8 weeks. You paid your coach. You paid your strength conditioning coach. You had to eat well, so you definitely changed your diet. You weren't working because you were training.
Yeah.
So where's that $4,000, $3,000, $2,000? What money? Well, that's money. That's not money.
No.
So. Not much money to be made. It's this business, you make money when you're at the top. And if you're not at the top, well, it's hard money, you know, you gotta work for it. Really tough business.
What motivates you to keep doing this business? Yeah, I mean, everything you've said so far about the business side has been pretty harsh.
Yeah, I mean, why me? I'm in the business?
Yeah.
Because I believe in my skills to become one of the best coaches in the world.
Well,
if not, I'm not in this. I'm not taking time away from my family. I'm not, look at what time it is. It's 10 o'clock right now. I've been here since 6.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this. I'm doing this strictly because I believe in myself. I believe in my fighters. And I think I can make a killing at it. And that's why I'm still here. You know, that's why I'm still coaching.
I believe in you, brother.
All right, thank you.
I believe in you for real. What would you say is the hardest part about all this?
That's perspectives, you know, like some days it might be one perspective, another day might be another perspective. I mean, the hardest must be that, you know, I've been pushing at this for 12, 13 years. I've been coaching full time now. So the hardest I think is like, sometimes I love my life, you know, like if you want to say, did I make it? I make it. I make it every day, you know. Is it enough? Maybe, maybe not, you know, but here I'm healthy, I'm living my passion, I'm traveling the world.
Yeah.
I'm able to put food on the table for my kids, you know. But the hardest is like, it's like, you know, you have the skills to be at the top, but you're still not at the top. So it's every day you're like, fuck, man, when is it gonna come? When's my time gonna come where I'm recognized as one of the best? You know,
I recognize you as one of the best.
When are the phone calls gonna come in from fighters in the U.S. or managers, or, you know, promoters? Hey, can you train this guy? You know, that's hard, but it's motivating for me. So
Would you leave Montreal for this?
100%.
Yeah.
If that's what it takes to become the best coach in the world, I mean, yeah, 100%. There's nothing stopping me.
No, eh?
Nothing.
No. I want to talk about your I don't want to call them prospects because I think they're more than prospects now. Your two fighters, Avery first of all, and
Mohammed, yeah.
Yeah. Tell me about them.
I
before we
mean,
move on to
me, they're family. I mean, I love them to death. I've been training them, you know. Avery's, he just turned 21. I've been training him, you know, I would train him with Francis Lafreniere back then, but probably took over like when he was 15. So to me, it's very nice to see him grow up, you know. You know, he's growing, then he gets a challenge, you know, and then we work with that challenge, and then we grow, and then we get another challenge, you know. So
challenge being a fight?
Could be a fight, could be something in the outside of the gym, could be, you know, like problems come up. God doesn't give us anything for free, you know,
no,
so we
not.
get challenged, and that's the beauty of it, you know, like building these guys to go through the challenge, you know, or sometimes there's failures, and like you learn from those failures. It's always like, how are you going to come back? Are you going to sit down? Are you going to go down? Are you going to quit? Or are you ready for the challenge? You can say, you know what, fuck you, I'm going through you. You understand? So Avery, similar to Mohammed, it's just been pleasure, you know, like it's been hard and tough, and yeah, but just to see them grow and to become man, you know.
Yeah.
And their boxing continues to improve. Every month, every year, you know, we keep trying to get better. We never sit down. Because when you sit down and you start getting comfortable, you get plastered, you get blindsided right away. That's how it always works in this sport, and in life too, as a matter of fact. So we always
boxing is life.
100%, 100%, more than
slack, you get hit.
like MMA and boxing, more than any sport. Because it's humbling, you know. You can get away with some mistake, but sooner or later you're getting exposed, and you're getting exposed in
front of everybody,
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, Avery's doing well. He's fighting next Thursday. He keeps learning. We've been doing camps a lot on the outside, you know, been traveling, getting in uncomfortable spots, and he's growing from it. Mohammed, for him, he's fighting next month. He's kind of get a second wind to his career.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
Actually, you mentioned that
he went through some tough times these last 2 years.
Was it an injury or?
It was a misdiagnosis from the doctors. Yeah, telling him that he couldn't fight, couldn't get punched anymore. You know, it was just a whole mess. It I don't know what it was at the end of the day, you know. Today I'm very happy with the situation because things change, you know. When opportunities show up, good or bad, you know, we roll with them, and I'm a firm believer that things happen for a reason, right?
Yeah.
So whatever it was, all that hate, all the negativity, all the sadness, you know, you're up and down, the roller coaster ride, now it's making him realize he's got a second chance to his career. We got people involved in his career. That's right. You see, that's how you have to look the outlook, right? Perspective.
Absolutely.
And he's doing good. He's in the gym already. He sparred yesterday. Things are looking good for him. He just got to keep going with the momentum right now.
It's good to hear, man. I asked your audience on Instagram.
Great.
If they have any questions for you, and they do. They had a lot of questions for you. So we're gonna take a look at a couple of them. All right, where am I? Okay. It's kind of a boring question. How important is the jab?
The most important after defense. Why is the jab important?
Measure your distance.
Yeah, setups, okay? Nobody's gonna stay in front of you and be like, yeah, hit me across the head, hit me in the body. Nobody does that, all right? Nobody does that. So what do you have to do as a fighter? You gotta prepare your attacks. Best and safest way to prepare your attacks, jabs and feints, right? Because it's a jab, you know, it's hard to get countered, it's hard to beat time.
Right.
You're not committing into anything. It's just a jab, you're calculating everything. So by far, the jab is the most important punch. To prepare attacks, to defend from attacks, and to calculate distance.
Question 2, what's more important, offense or defense? I think
well, it depends. If you want to have brain cells at the end of your career or you want to have a short, exciting career. I mean, defense is by far the most. You know what? Coaches or even programs, amateur programs, provincial programs, national programs should not teach one offensive move before the defense has been, I won't say mastered, but just like shown, introduced. You go to fights tomorrow night. You go to fights, bronze gloves, silver gloves, golden gloves, nationals,
tomorrow, right?
Olympics. Guys are eating punches. They're holding. Their defense is their offense. Okay. Once they get to a higher level, okay, but at the beginner, you want this sport to succeed. You want this sport to be healthy. You want boxers not to quit. Show them defense. Build their confidence by showing them defense, showing them how to block punches, how to roll punches, how to move their head, how to use their feet. You understand?
Yeah.
Teach them that before anything else, and you will have a lot more fighters that are still in this sport. Because a lot of fighters will quit. Why? Because they get their bell wrong, they get concussed, they don't feel well. Why am I doing this? Why am I throwing up after I have a job, I have school, I have a family. You understand? Why am I doing this? So let boxing as a whole, you know, I'm a nobody right now, but
by no means.
One day maybe I could try to spread this idea that amateur programs should be showing how to block, how to have a decent defense before you even have a fight or even have a sparring, right? Why should you go into a situation where you're just a beginner and you're trying to survive for your life because someone's trying to take your head off?
Right.
You should have the skills and the tools to
I
actually
see that
block.
a lot. I keep it to one sparring a week, and I see a lot of fighters going way harder than a lot of their fights in sparring, like really trying to knock each other out, and I don't appreciate that.
Yeah.
It might be necessary sometimes, but anyway. This next question is from your wife. What time will you be home?
We'll see you when I finish here, maybe in 15 minutes, clean the gym. I appreciate you, babe. Thank you for believing in me. After all this time, soon it's gonna pay.
My man, I bet it will.
She was your teacher once, huh?
She was.
Yeah,
Miss Russo. Big shout out to Miss Russo. She was the only one that treated me fairly.
Yeah,
I was
good. Good.
I was in a kind of like a troublemaker's class, but
yeah, she has a big heart.
Yeah. Does having a great beard give you bonus points for being a coach?
I have no idea.
I don't understand this question. What was it like teaching someone as great as Fuad?
It was good. It was amazing.
Amazing.
Easy job.
What I like to hear. Wow, I appreciate it. A lot of these are funny, man.
It's for sure all my clients and friends.
You're a fireman?
No, my brother is.
Oh, okay. Well, someone said you volunteer in NDG.
Oh, volunteer. Yeah. Volunteer. Yeah, I did some work there because I was going to Concordia.
Right.
So I was doing community work in Concordia for school. So then I had also my friend there who was one of my boxers, Michael Mazula. He would be working with the community, so I would go volunteer and help him out and, you know, teach boxing, teach life.
How do you keep up with all this? You have your own gym? You have...
I don't do it anymore. I just don't have the time. And it's one of the, you know what? It's one of the things that's always gonna call me. Like, I don't care about, obviously I care about boxing, but you know, when it comes to community, that's something I always love to do. Like, not about the boxing, but just being able to connect with kids.
It's what you study.
Being able, it is at Concordia, but just being able to, like, who knows? Maybe you say one thing and it changes a kid's life, you know? So for sure.
Miss Russo.
For sure, you know, like, as an adult, as a teacher, as a coach, as, you know, like someone with authority, we have to, like, give back, you know? You have to give back. Right now, it's not possible for me, but it's definitely still there, and it will always be there, you know? And who knows, like, if I can go somewhere with this boxing as a coach, and I could use my name as leverage to give back, I'm 100% doing it. Because when you,
on the right track
when you help kids, you know, in the community especially, you see it in their eyes. You understand? You see, like, you're helping someone, you're changing someone, or you're just advising someone. It goes a lot further than money. It goes a lot further than coaching pros or whatever. You know, when you're able to actually, like, maybe real change. It could be this much or this much. You know, that to me is, that's the best thing in the world. You know.
Yeah. Well, look, I appreciate your time, but before we stop, I want to ask you. I'm gonna play a game with you. I play this with everyone's smiling now because they know what's about to happen. So.
Am I in trouble?
No.
Is this a bad game? Should I leave?
I'm gonna name some fighters, and you're gonna describe them with one word or one sentence. This is where all the smoke is blown. So.
The what?
This is where you blow smoke, right?
Okay. Talk shit.
If you want.
I like that.
Muhammad Sumaru.
One word?
Or one sentence.
He's a warrior.
Yeah.
That's what I like. The first thing that would come to my mind, mindset of a warrior. You know what? Sacrifice too, you know, like just everything he's been through. He came here into Canada as a refugee, you know, like been boxing, you know, like just he put everything.
Yeah.
Everything on the line.
I remember watching him when I was a kid, and he was always one of the guys.
You just see it in his eyes, you know. He becomes.
You see it in his body too. He's built like a tank.
Yeah. Good genes.
Good genes. That's true.
Avery, I mean, all the talent in the world, everything to become a world champion. That's what I see. Everything. He has everything to become a world champion. Not just like. Luckily finds a world title and then loses it. No, I think he could dominate this sport. I really do. It's just, will he? Well, that's the time will tell. I mean, there's going to be a lot more challenges that come forward, and that's how we're going to deal with it, you know. If I keep coaching him, you know, forever, you know, like, it is what it is, man. I mean, he has it. He just has it.
I feel you.
But sometimes, you know you have it all, and then it's, you know, God don't give you everything. So maybe it's one piece that's you know, out of the puzzle. But I mean, he's got what it takes. He's gonna have to work hard and go through a lot, you know, and ups and downs. It's gonna come. It's normal. I mean, you just gotta keep working at it.
Ryan Ford.
I said warrior for Mo, but he's an OG. Like, he's tough as they come, you know, not scared of anything, not even doubting. The first fight I worked with him in Singapore, we're going in the ring in about 20 minutes. The guy's lying down on the floor, just relaxing and sleeping. I'm like, what? Who is this? What are you doing? Like, you got to get going, you know? Yeah, warrior.
Arthur Beterbiev.
Legal killer, like what? I don't know, man. I've seen him spar, I've seen him fight. Monster.
Monster. You work with him right now, don't you?
No, I don't.
No?
Never worked with him.
Never worked? Well,
Never was in his corner or anything, but
okay.
pure monster, man.
Canelo Alvarez.
Canelo, I would say very good, like excellent fighter, obviously. But what I really liked about Canelo is the way he can control fights, the way he could change styles within the fight, the way he's gotten better year after year, and he's stuck with the same coach, you know? You can see there's like a good chemistry, and they've been working, they connect, you know? They're like on another level. And that's what I like too with coaching, like let's say Mo, Avery, you know? I'm able to talk to them a certain way. We're able to work on things over a long period of time. So I love to see that connection with Canelo and his coach, and I think he's going to go down as one of the best fighters of all times. You know, when you mix power and boxing skills together, it's not often you'll see a guy who's extremely smart and that crack like Canelo can. It's very rare you see that. And when you get that combination, those guys are extremely hard to beat. They'll give you rounds because they know they'll knock you out later.
Knock you out in the end.
You know?
Well, I know you're a big Caleb Plant fan.
Yeah.
So, Caleb Plant.
Caleb fought the good fight. I mean, he was moving, sticking and moving, you know, countering well. And then in the 10th or the 9th, before he got hurt, he started sitting down, starting to trade, and when his legs gave up, Canelo took him out.
Yeah.
But I think Caleb is very talented. Could
Get his
fight.
world title back.
He'll be a world champion again. The thing that I feel he needs to get under control is his emotions. Okay? It's good to be emotional, it's good to be aggressive, but I feel like sometimes he's wasting energy on what people might think about him. You see him on the social media is always trying to defend himself, or like, fuck what everyone has to say, Caleb. Just focus on you. Always try to get better, and you're gonna, you know, you were winning, and not winning, but you were winning some rounds with Canelo, who's the best at your weight class. You know, you're gonna be there again, 100%. Just, you know, concentrate on you. Fuck everyone else. That's what I would tell them.
To every fighter too? Yeah.
I think I was telling Ryan before, I'm like, you see guys weigh in and their eyes, you know, like if I would be fighting, and what I tell my fighters, like, yeah, there's an obstacle in front of you, but your biggest competition is yourself. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do against that guy? How are you gonna adapt, or how are you gonna make him adapt? Forget these emotional, oh, I'm gonna beat you. I get it, it's part of the business to sell and stuff.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, your competition is yourself. How are you gonna deal with it? How are you gonna deal with the stress, the anger, the emotions, and all that? Are you gonna be able to listen to your coach and follow the game plan?
I'm gonna name some guys from our city, from Montreal. So I just had Shaquille Finn on the show. So Shaquille Finn.
Nice guy.
Nice guy?
Very nice guy.
Not a juggernaut?
Juggernaut, nice guy, come forward, exciting for the fans.
Charles Jourdain.
Jourdain, listen, I'm a boxing coach, okay? I don't know much about MMA, but I see a warrior. I see a tough guy. He knows how to talk the business, you know?
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch him.
Yeah,
I love watching it. I love it.
Who do you think is the next guy to come out of you know, come out of Canada or come out of Montreal that's, you know, really gonna make some damage?
It's hard to say, man. It's really hard to say. Because you kind of get, like, right now with this city, you have the guys who are like there. Let's say you say Arthur, Ulysse, Arthur, Pascal, you know, like those guys are there, right? And then in the younger guys, they haven't really been tested yet, or they haven't been, you know, challenging for world titles or anything. So it's hard to say. Like, it's still in the beginning stages, you know. Like, if we watch the card coming up, you know, you got a top prospect in Eric Bazinian. I mean, tough tests are coming now. Now it's the time to be tested. So after those tests, you can be like, yeah, he's coming out of this city and he's going to be a world champ, you know. You got Artem, who's also fighting on the show, you know, full of skills, you know, amateur pedigree. he's still getting tested, you know. So it's hard to say like, oh yeah, that guy's going to become a world champion.
One thing I wanted to ask you earlier, and I completely forgot about it, but I always thought of you as a purist of boxing.
I know where this is going.
Yeah. So tell me about it. Yeah,
I mean, listen, purist, not purist, this is a business.
Right.
You know, you grow up as a coach, you think you've figured it all.
Just tell them that you trained.
Yeah, I was training Harley Morenstein for his YouTuber fight.
Yes.
It was a charity event in Tampa last month.
Did you have fun doing it?
I loved it. I loved it. And I loved it, you know, like there's things I didn't like about that show. And nothing personal, it's just like, once again, there was guys that shouldn't have been on that show, but it's hard to tell, you know, are they ready? They say they're ready, they have a coach, they don't have a coach. But some guys didn't even know how to block a single punch. So that I'm against it. But at the end of the day,
it's the commission, right?
It's not so much the commission, it's just, you know, like, there's a lot of people involved in this boxing. I mean, when a show like that of that magnitude goes down, it's hard to say, you know, but at the end of the day, it is entertainment. And there was 12,000 people there yelling their life out. So like, that I'm there, or I'm for it or not for it, it's still happening, right?
Yeah.
So if I can help someone along the way, if I can get involved and maybe help a few people, it is what it is. I mean,
good to hear, man.
And it's good for boxing. I mean,
of course. I mean, it brings eyeballs.
It brings eyeballs. It brings money. It brings, you know, you're a coach. You have clients. You might get a 15-year-old who's like a YouTube fan who's gonna join you and pay you $80, $100 an hour to train him. You know, it's good for the sport.
It is.
No matter how you want to see it, it is good.
Yeah.
Where it gets complicated is when fighters are like, well, how come he's making money and I'm not? Well,
you're not as famous as the
you're
guy.
not
That's
famous.
it.
That's what it is.
You know, yeah, you know, you can't get mad at these guys for making money.
No.
Yeah. My only issue is stop calling out real fighters. But
business.
I suppose so.
They get their word out. They get their name spoken about.
That's true. That's very true. Jesse, it was a pleasure talking with you.
Thank you,
Thank
brother.
you so much for your time.
Yes, sir.
And
we'll do it
everything
again.
else. Of course, I'll have you back on the show soon.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Go check out Jessy at Jessy Rose Thompson on Instagram.
Coach Thompson Boxing.
Coach Thompson Boxing on Instagram. Or, as always, I'll knock you out.